Okay, the time is now. Time is now 8 o'clock, and so pretty much I'm going to talk to you guys about some of the things that happened this week. But I'm also going to do some sculpting as I do that. And so one of the things I want to just kind of say is thank you so much for being here. Whoever's here at this time, you guys might come in a little later, but for those of you who are here right now, I just want to thank you so much for just showing up to my channel. Currently, right now, it's today is the 9th of April, April 9th, 2025. And so we're going to talk to you about some things as well. I'm going to go ahead and do a live sculpting as I do that. So what I normally do is that I kind of like start off with a little bit of something here, and then just to begin to talk. But I wanted to kind of start with some other things. I'm going to start with like, some verses real quick of my scriptures. I'm going to start off with I didn't pre-read this, so I'm not sure exactly what it's going to say. But I mean, I read it before in time, but currently right now, like I mean, like today before, like today I didn't read it. But today is the 9th, and so it says, Proverbs chapter 9. So it's Proverbs chapter 9. It's the King James. Is it King James? Is it King James? Probably the New King James. It's the New King James. All right, well, normally I read in the King James, but it's going to be the New King James today. So I just wanted to read this real quick. Okay, so Proverbs chapter 9. I'm going to do like a sculpture. I just wanted to just kind of set you up with this, let you know. It's always kind of good to start off with some scripture, so say thank God for opportunity for everybody who's here. Just want to say this is pretty much, it's called The Way of Wisdom, Proverbs chapter 9, and today's the 9th, April 9th, so. Wisdom has built her house. She has hewed out 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her meat. She has mixed her wine. She has also furnished her table. She sent out her maidens. She cries from the highest place in the street. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. As for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, come, eat of my bread, and drink of the wine. Wisdom is talking, which I have mixed. Forsake foolishness and live, and go in the way of understanding. He who reproves a scoffer gets shame for himself, and he who rebukes a wicked man gets himself a blemish. Do not reprove a scoffer, lest he hate you. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. Right? Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be wiser still. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. This is on Proverbs chapter 9. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. For by me your days will be multiplied, and years of life will be added to you. If you are wise, you are wise for yourself, and if you scoff, you alone will bear it. The way of folly. A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knows nothing. For she sits at the door of her house, on a seat of the highest places of the city, to call to whoever passes by, who will go straight on their way. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. And as for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he does not know that the dead are there, and our guests are in the depths of hell. That's Proverbs chapter 9. All right, so this was kind of talking about like wisdom as opposed to foolishness, two things. What I'm going to do tonight, right, I'm going to go ahead and make something. And so usually I ask my people what I should make, right? I ask what I should make. And so pretty much I'm asking you right now what I should make, right, before I jump into it. So in the chat below, just definitely, let me know what I should make. You have the opportunity before I start making something to put a suggestion. And definitely, start making it as long as you are willing to hear it, because I have a story to tell. And the story I'm going to tell you today, it requires me to do this while talking. So please, if you can just give me an idea what you'd like for me to sculpt in the chat below, just write in the chat. It's free. It's not going to cost you anything. Just a couple words. No politicians, nothing sick or demented, but something I can make while I'm talking to you here. That's something that I kind of do. So definitely let me know right now in the chat. I'll give it a few minutes, and then after that I'll start making something of my own choosing. But in the meantime, I wanted to talk to you today about sabotage and about this whole thing regarding. I have a lot of things in my mind, so I wanted to kind of talk to you about some stuff. There's been a lot of things going on in politics, and I just can't keep up. I really don't know what's going on, honestly. I just have not been paying attention to that because it's just been out of my reign for now. But what I have been thinking about has been things like close to home, and thinking about stuff that I've been through as a person. So last couple of days, a lot of things have happened to me. I've been through a lot of situations, and last couple of months actually, been a lot of situations. And so I wanted to just kind of talk with you guys about some of the stuff I'm going through. And so it's like I recently had gotten a new job, and I recently, like as in like last year, and the new job I loved it. I loved it very much. I really enjoyed it. It's a very simple job. I work at the airport. I can't tell you the details of the job that I do, but I could tell you that pretty much it's a job that I really like. And so I've been working there for some time, and it's a beautiful place where it is that I work. And so There's a lot of story that goes with that, but definitely before I continue, just let me know in the chat what I should start sculpting so I could talk to you as I'm sculpting. Alrighty. But anyway, so the place that I work in, I can't tell you the name of it, but for the most part of it, it has a situation where I got a chance to make some make contacts and meet some people. And incidentally, a lot of the people that I met there, I'm generally, you see, the person I am right now is kind of the person I really am. I'm not like, I don't have a facade. I don't have I don't have a stage voice or anything like that. This is me as a person. And so what happens is that whenever I do the art that I do, it's like pretty much I do it from my heart. So one of the sad things about life is that sometimes people look at you and they judge you funny or judge you as an easy mark or something. But the thing is, I have a lot of experience in a lot of stuff. So it's not like, easy mark, but the thing is, like, I really give my heart to people, and I'm very, a very caring person, because that's the way I grew up, because you kind of extend a hand before, before you have to close your hand in a fist and all that stuff, because what happens is that usually people are very, you believe that God made them and they're very valuable in the eyes of God. So one of the things is that, it's just one of the things where I, this, a lot of things that happened, something happened where someone decided to sabotage me, and it was just really unfortunate because what ended up happening was, I can't tell you too much of details about that, but what happens is it's a long story along the lines of, like, you have your coworkers and you all struggle together, and everybody in the job is a coworker. Even the boss is a coworker, because the only person who's not a coworker is the owner. The owner of any company is not a coworker, because he owns the company and he can replace everybody in the job. Every single person in the job can be replaced, except for the owner. The owner is the one who he's unless of course the owner passed away or something like that. The person in the job, they're pretty much everybody in the job is replaceable, right? So with that said, there's an aspect where it's like, last couple of weeks I've been going through a lot of stuff, and with everything you run into a scenario. I'm just going to start making something. I'm going to start working on something, and pretty much one of the things I want to talk about is this, like, pretty much one of these creatures here. This one's my Carnotaur. This is a Carnotaur that I started working on, and so this I'm going to go ahead and keep adding to it, because it's like, I enjoy making dinosaurs and stuff like that, so I'm going to make that. So I'll tell you my story. This is how it goes. I've had, every one of us, right, has certain fears and things that we go through. And one of the things that we all kind of like deal with is, our own fears, right? And I'm not here talking about our own fears because it's like, things that we're going through, but I'm just going to talk about a couple things that I've gone through. And so one of the things I've gone through, I went through a situation where I had a family member did something to me. And it was like, unfortunately, the way it worked is like, you got no support from the other family members as things happen. My wife and kids have been very supportive of things I've gone through. And so incidentally, when things have started to get really kind of like intense, what ends up happening is, like, I kind of lean back onto my family, because they're the ones who give me a lot of ideas, and. But so whenever you go through a situation, right, you have to lean onto something. Some people, they turn to the bottle, or they go to like drugs or stuff like that. And what we've been doing to deal with our situations have been, we've been watching The Walking Dead, right? So we've actually been watching the story of The Walking Dead. And incidentally, what happens is, like, it's a story where, these people are trying to survive, trying to survive the aftermath of pretty much a zombie apocalypse, and they're trying to find out what's going on in there. So what has been so good for me in that it has been a situation where I've been able to identify what some of the stuff is going through, because, I had a situation where something happened. I was attacked, and I have an injury from the attack. And so one of the things was, like, just trying to make sense of stuff without giving too much details. So in a sense, I have two things that happened where I can't give any details about, but I can give some details, and hopefully you can identify with some of the things I'm going through. One of which, the things talked about, both situations are situations of sabotage, right? Sabotage being that you didn't expect it, didn't see it coming, right? And not seeing, it's almost like a sucker punch. There's a movie called Sucker Punch, but in the movie, I'm not sure exactly what the sucker punch really was in the movie Sucker Punch, but the thing that I thought was interesting is that in our lives, in my life, I had two situations that happened that are similar, but they all stem back to the same thing. It's almost like, there's an aspect of, like, what is that? This is a Carnotaur. It's a Carnotaur. And so, give me an idea of something to make. Give me some idea of something to make real quick, because what happens is, like, I'm in the process of just kind of making this as a whole place until somebody gives me an idea. But it can't be something bad. Can't be a politician. it could be something like an animal, dragon, something like that, that I can make while I'm talking. If not, I'm just gonna keep working on this Carnotaur. I have another character I'm already working on, but pretty much I'll just pop it out later when I finish working on this Carnotaur. But for the most part, it's a Carnotaur here. I actually have this in one of my other videos. So anyway, so long story short, trying to lose my train of thought here. It's like it seems like they seem like a very similar thing. It's like when things happen and they seem similar, when you boil it all down and it seems similar, you're probably dealing with a caterpillar. I make a caterpillar, a caterpillar, caterpillar. I can make a caterpillar, but that's all right. I'll make a caterpillar. So what happens is that so we make an inchworm or a caterpillar. We want an inchworm caterpillar or just a caterpillar, the one that's kind of like big and long with like little feet on the sides. I mean, because that's like that's really not much of you want like the inchworm, the kind of like that caterpillar. Then I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna make that inchworm thing. All right, let me do that. So what happens is this, right? This is the situation, right? So when you encounter something that seems similar and it smells similar, because what happens, like back in the day, right, when I was in high school, there was this thing, right, an intro. Okay, intro for the intro. There was a thing where I was part of I had a Christian club in my high school, right, and the Christian club in my high school was I was burdened in my heart to make one, right. And so, thank you so much for the request, by the way, for the request to make that. I appreciate that. So what happens is that the situation was that the Christian club that I had in my high school was something that I was burdened about because there was a thing called the Seekers Christian Fellowship, right? And it was a group of people up in the Bronx, and I remember there was like it was pretty cool. One of the ladies' name was Wendy, and she had a program where she would reach out and help you to kind of reach out to your school, And so I really had no support from them after I started it. I just kind of had initial support, and that's kind of usually how it is for me, by the way. I might have initial support, but follow-up support I don't really get too often. So I've been used to kind of doing stuff on my own and kind of making things the way it is, out of, on my own. So, but I'm not completely on my own, though. I'm not alone. I have my family, my wife, my children, and I have been able to do some stuff. So when it comes to things like, sabotage, or when I mean sabotage is like, there was a time when I had that, a park sabotage one, right? Where I was trying to do something, trying to work in and the police shut us down. We got shut down in the park, right? So we weren't able to do any of our night market, right? That was like last year. Or, yeah, it was last year? Either last year or the year before. I think it was probably last year. So we weren't able to do it. I think it was the year before. And so, because we got shut down, and then so we had to kind of build back up to where we were before. So anyway, long story short, we have this thing where I call that park sabotage, or, was able to do that. That's one of the videos I have in the past. But this one was different because in this situation, right, what happened was, like, I was at a place, right, in my job where I tried to maintain, like, quiet and composure and not make any noise about something, right? And so what happened was, like, I didn't broadcast any location that was where I was doing my art, right? Like, for example, like, you can do art anywhere, right? You can do art anywhere. And because of the nature of this thing here, I'm actually doing this here in front of you guys. And so I can do this on the bus, I can do this on the train, right? And so what happened was, like, I had the idea to make, like, me and a coworker had an idea to make a video because he had shown me a video of a previous one that he had made, and it was wonderful. And so he showed the work of it, and I was just blown away by how good of a job he did. Not to mention, that person also did, like, my Christmas pictures. So my wife and kids and I, we got a chance to do some of our zany art, and it was just so fun. It was just so fun, right? So what ended up happening, right, was like this thing where it's like, I did this, and then one of my coworkers decided to tell the bosses what happened, and I was just like, oh my word, I didn't know this because all of a sudden I get a call from the boss, and the boss is telling me that there's somebody, an anonymous person, which no one is anonymous actually. There's nobody anonymous. Everybody knows who somebody is, and somebody knows who someone is, and what they do is that they try to be anonymous, but everybody has a trail, not to mention conscience, because, the reason somebody's doing this is the reason for either, why would anybody sabotage someone, and really kind of mess somebody's situation up, because one, I paid for that video to make the video. Two, I was very cautious as to making it. There was no violation of any policies, because there wasn't any policies, right, that were to be violated, because it was like, I don't know, whatever it wasn't there. There was no thing about you cannot do this or there, right? You can't do that. That was kind of something that was just I don't know what it was, but that was the thing. So anyway, so long story short, there was no violation. There was no, situation like that. But I was told, that somebody specifically and intentionally sent an email or a message to the boss to, to to mess this up, mess up my float. So it was done on purpose. And that's one of the things that you think about, like, I can't believe that somebody actually go out their way to do that, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't affect anything or anyone. And as a matter of fact, you know how it is with Instagram or with YouTube or something like that, or whatever you do, it only lasts for a few minutes anyway. Your presentation, you have like maybe at a week, might stay there in terms, but they were concerned about it actually getting out into the world and then getting back to their bosses and all kind of things like that. So without saying too much details, one of the things was like, it just seems like that was one of the things that I don't know. It just was really kind of frustrating, because the whole frustrating aspect of it was because, it didn't have to be that way. It could have been very quiet, and it could have kept on being quiet, because when nobody would have known anything about anything. So anyway, so what happens was I had to think of a way to solve my problem without, destroying everything. And so, so I decided to just go ahead and, just make it inaccessible to everyone. Made it so that no one could actually, interfere with my forward course of stuff. But just going through that, that's one of the things where it's like, as you're realizing what that means, it means that I can't trust my coworkers, that I can't trust my coworkers, and I could trust I guess my boss, I could still trust them because they're willing to kind of, work things out with me. But my coworkers now, it kind of put me in a situation where I'm just, I don't know what to do with that, you know? If you have ever been in a situation like that where you had people, like, in a sense, set you up, but they purposely set you up for no real reason, for absolutely no real reason. There's no reason for them to actually have done that. I wasn't like stepping on anybody's boots. I wasn't stepping on anybody's thing. I wasn't trying to interfere with or, malign anyone. I didn't go out of my way to make a problem, but this whoever decided to do that, they went out of their way to kind of like mess up my situation, my scenario. And so with that, it's like you have it where you're not 100% sure as to what to do because incidentally, you have people that are not looking out for your best interests. I see there's a common thing I think about. There's a verse in the Bible talks about like wisdom. Well, this is a lesson to learn about wisdom. The Bible says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. But the thing is, God also says for us to be kind to our neighbors, do unto others as we have them do unto us, right? So do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So you love your neighbor, you be kind to them, you do what's right. You don't do things that's just like out there to hurt people because, you know, that'll come back to you. And people talk about karma and stuff. I don't believe in karma. I believe in, the Bible says what you sow is what you reap, right? So if you're mean to people, you're wicked to people, it's gonna come back to you because God says whatever you put out, you get back. And that's just how it is, really. Because, we are we're not just physical people. We are spiritual. So being spiritual, what that means is that we have the aspect of we have the physical nature, but we are actually spirits housed in the body. So we are here on temporary assignment. We're here like on a temporary assignment. And what happens is like as we're doing our stuff, we are learning how to be better people. Now I need some more reference for inchworm. I haven't done an inchworm in a long time, so I'm not sure if they have like antennae. So I'm gonna make some antennae anyway. So why not? Gonna make an antennae in the front, and then go see that right there. See how that works out. Make some antennae. This will be the front, and then I'm gonna make it just kind of a little bit more back, so you have that there. So what I'm saying is that you have this thing where you're faced with like having to make decisions about stuff, and when you make a decision, you have to do it because of the fact that that's what life is. Life is about making choices and decisions. Like it's like a decision. I remember Myron Golden was saying about decision. It's like to decide to go one way, a deliberate decision, a deliberate choice to go one way. He said choice and decision are two different things. But what happens is like you have a thing where you can go one way and go another way, and that's a choice. But a decision is like I'm going to look at all the factors and make the wisest move, and I'm going to go that way, right? And so that's what that's kind of the thing there. So anyway, so what happens? Like I'm just kind of like at that point where I just have to make some decisions about stuff. And I just was talking before. I had like when something happened with me and my family, I just had no support from the family that I thought I would have, and it's kind of like unnerving because it's like it's like once upon a time I went to the police about something. Somebody broke into our car, and they stole our guitar. So my guitar, I had my second guitar that I had. No, actually, it's I think my third guitar. Yeah. Anyway, I had a guitar in college. I think I left one. The other one was um, a guitar I had. The next one was one guitar I had. I left it in college, or it got stolen. I think I left it. I think I brought it from college. Anyway, it got damaged. No, it got stolen. That's what happened. That guitar got stolen. And then we got another guitar, right? My wife got me a guitar for our first anniversary, and that guitar got that one got like we had to sell it. We had to sell that one because it was like we didn't have the money at the time, so I had to make like one of those decisions to like just like not either to eat or have the guitar, and we had to make a decision. That was so sad because that guitar I really liked it and it was like such a wonderful gift. We got it from the Guitar Center. We went there the other day and it was just great. But for the most part though, it was one of those things where it's like right here I'm making an intro. So you have this thing where it's like when you are faced with stuff, you have to make choices. So my thing is this, right? Pretty much this is one here. This is the intro. And so I wonder if the colors are bright. Our colors are not right. I don't know. Well, anyway, so today was a very interesting day, but I'm just talking to you more about that. So I guess before it comes a part where you're not sure exactly what to do and how to do it, but you're just asking God for wisdom. So I'm always for ask God for wisdom because he can lead you the way you need to go and he'll show you the right way and give you what you need because at the end of the day it's like if you just you have to kind of go with your gut, but you have to kind of go with some wisdom and say, God, give me wisdom. Bible says if you lack wisdom, ask him, he'll give you. And so with my situation, right, the things I was talking about before, with the two cases of sabotage, right, one of the things was like just like I had to make some decisions as to what I'm going to do in the future because it's one of those things where you go back to work, and and you just kind of deal with the situation at hand, and then hopefully things will come to light. You'll find the person who did this, the person will confess, have a new relationship, things will become better, you know, because they changed the dynamics at work. It changed the dynamics for everything. So everything got shifted because of the person who did this thing. So what happens is like I'm just trying to make sense of that as to what the future may hold for that. The next step is next thing is like where regarding a family situation. That's another thing too. I have to make a decision regarding that as well because you know how it is. You have a plan, you want to do something, but you have to kind of make sense of that too because at the end of the day, you have to live with people, you know. But tomorrow's gonna be a big day. I'm gonna do some big things tomorrow, Lord willing. I can't tell you all this stuff because someone said don't tell people what you're gonna do. Just go ahead and do it, and then tell them what after you did it. So we're gonna tell you some things that we did afterwards. Already did. So that way it's kind of cool. You can actually hear some of our progress and things that we've already done. So when my daughter celebrated her birthday, we celebrated it a couple days ago, and we got a chance to go to our favorite food place, which is great. My family and I went to a favorite food place that we normally go to. It's over near Northern Boulevard. There's a grand buffet that we go to, and it's really wonderful. We love it because one of the things about it, it's like, it's a great place. It's a really good place because my my family, my dad and my mom and my sisters, we'd all go there during family times. There's another place we go to in Flushing that was really good, but it was really cool because we went there and it would just celebrate my daughter's birthday. She wanted to go there more than anything else. So what happens is like we were able to go there and do this. So that's something there. So and then after that we went to Guitar Center and that was great memories. That was some really good memories there, because what ended up happening was we before when I went to Five Below and we got some stuff. And I got a projector that I'm going to use in my next class coming up. So remember, classes are going to start on April 24th. We're going to have another set of classes. So I think it might be the first of many, and I really believe that. But again, don't tell people what you're going to do. Just go ahead and do it, and then show people what you've already did. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is like I wonder like, do the inchworms have? Add some more feet. I think they have like in total 6 feet. I'll add some more. Who cares, right? An inchworm is an inchworm is an inchworm. I'll add some more feet to that. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's add 6 feet in the front. I think I have like a 1 foot in the back, you know? Because I mean, like, I'm doing this without looking. I'm doing this without references and stuff, you know? So that's kind of thing there. So anybody can look at a reference and tell me how many feet are on an inchworm? I can't really look at any reference right on my phone. It's the main one. And my other phone is still charging. So it's like, so that's the thing. We came from like from Brooklyn today. We went deep in the heart of Brooklyn, over in Ocean Parkway, and we got a chance to come back, and we spent the whole day just kind of just hanging out. We have a family cooperative that we do, and with other family, because we homeschool our children, and that's kind of one of those things where it's like it's pretty cool. You get a chance to meet other homeschool families who are homeschooling their children as well, and that in of itself is great because when you do that, you get a chance to have like a open up the gene pool and get to meet different people, which is great. So you have more people to pick from in terms of like you don't want to marry off your children. Well, you know, whatever. So the thing is like, you know, or just a chance to meet other families so you can meet them and interact with other families who have the same mindset. Because that's kind of the end of the day, that's what you want to find. You want to find people with similar mindsets, and that's kind of what's at. Because, you know, you can't really sabotage your friends. I mean, you can, I guess. But the thing is, you try not to because you want them to prosper. And so people who don't want other people to prosper, you know, got to help them. Because, you know what, if we all made ourselves better, if we all went out there and just made the world a little bit better, instead of trying to make the world worse, then what happens is like, you know, what happens is that you're actually faced with a situation where people are better. You become a better person if you help the world become better, but also if you make yourself better. So the thing is like whatever problem that you might be facing, right? Whatever problem you might be facing, you have to definitely kind of like sit there and consider that maybe I should fix this problem for the sake of the world, you know? Maybe I should fix myself. Like I was learning today, they say something about like we are all like 8-year-old kids, right? Every one of us. We have emotional struggles that we haven't dealt with, things in our life that we just don't know how to deal with because we were never trained how to do that from our parents. And so to get like emotional support, emotional courage, and emotional like wisdom, we have to actually go through a kind of lesson like thing or kind of a series of lessons where we need to make ourselves like better, you know, and better through time. So my what I need to learn how to do, there's certain things I need to work on in myself and as everybody. But one of the things I'm just kind of trying to figure out is like how to deal with this is like a thing that happens, and maybe you might have wisdom on it, but one of the things is like how do you deal with like in a situation I talked about, this is betrayal. How do you deal with betrayal? How have you ever been in a situation where someone that you loved or care for, you know, betrayed you? We've had many situations. We've had a friend who was mad at us for so many years, and eventually what happened was like, you know, the situation was able to right itself. But it was like it took many years. It took like, you know, many years for it to fix itself, and it took a lot of sacrifice because, you know, imagine have people who purposely are mad at you, right? And I mean I don't know. I mean it's like, you know, it's one thing to hold a grudge, another thing to hold a fence up, you know, and to guard that fence, make sure that you don't come by. It's like that's a hatred I know not, and that's kind of the things where, you know, I look back and I say to myself, it's like there's got to be some reason why a person would be so mad at you to where they willing to like want you to be like in a, you know, just so far distant. And if you've ever been in a situation like that, could you like write anything in the comments about like how would you have dealt with it, how you were able to deal with a situation that, you know, people who really just they really have it out for you. They want to be your enemy, you know. They want to be your enemy. They don't want to like, you know, have the peace that you have. They want to be like enemy, analogous to an enemy, and they act as such. Like they want to be your super villain or something, or your arch enemy. And you're just like, I really have no intention. Like my wife and I, we've had this conversation before. There's many times we go to different places, different jobs and stuff like that, and we end up finding the corruption in the job. Be it at a church, be it at a law firm, be it at, you know, every single job we've always worked at, there's always some time you find corruption, and then it becomes a decision what to do. So it's like, you know what, never, I don't think I've ever specifically went to the boss with something to write on a person, you know. I mean, that was engaged in something that wasn't like criminal. Like for example, if somebody's hurting somebody or blackmailing somebody or something like that, I understand. But if somebody has nothing to do with it, I mean, if the person is like vengeful or spiteful or something, you know, and they do something like that, that's something where that person is, you know, I don't know. It's just like that'll definitely come back to them. That'll come back to them. There's no reason for why a person should actually go out their way to do something that really doesn't hurt anybody or does anything. But if it, I mean, if it is hurting somebody or taking advantage of a situation, I mean, I guess you could say a lot of things, but one of the things, like if you do something on purpose to just hurt a person, you know, God help you, man. Really, because it's like, and then if you think you can get away with it because of the, just your mindset, or I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm quite upset about it, actually. Just trying to make sense of it, because so much so that I had to actually just kind of take a day off from work, and just kind of really think it through as to what am I gonna do next. You know, it's like that's just one of those things. I mean, I like my bosses and I like my coworkers, but this just kind of put like a wedge, put a wedge between all of us. And so, I mean, any advice would be great, but it's just talking about stuff. That's a lot of things on my mind and kind of dealing with stuff right now. You know. Well, my wife has been very helpful. She's been a really good, wonderful person in helping me with this stuff. So what I've been doing, I've been distracting myself with stuff. So I went to the first time ever using spray foam. So I got a chance to work on the bathroom, and in the bathroom, and got a chance to fix with the sink. And so it was like, what we did was that we went to Home Depot and we got a chance to, like, there was the sink was dripping, and so we've had this. I think the sink we've had it for a long time. So what ended up happening was that I had to kind of actually go and replace the sink. So I took the sink off the wall and took off the pipes. And yeah, the thing is, like, sometimes you know things are just scary and you don't know what to do. But sometimes you just gotta do it scared, right? You don't know what to do, but watch a couple YouTube videos and things like that, and you get an idea. And then what ends up happening is that you're able to make some stuff. You're able to make some things and make some advances. Is it mini dragon? No, this is an inchworm. This is an inchworm. Somebody asked me to make an inchworm, so I'm like, just a little inchworm with like a little. I don't know if inchworms have like big old antenna, but this is like a little inchworm. Thank you, Amy Valentine. And so the thing is, like, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the sink in the bathroom. What we did was that we were able to the caterpillar has like little things that come out the back too, like little spikes, stuff like that. So we're gonna put a bunch of spikes there. And so, I mean, I guess certain inchworms have things, but let's make this one a spiky inchworm, because it's supposed to be like where it's spiky in the back. It's also the same like in the front. It's supposed to be like, if it gets bitten in the back, it'll be fine. Like almost like a what do you call that? Oh, cool. Oh wow, nice, cute. Oh, thank you for the interaction. Nice. No, nice, cute. There's a noise. So you have that. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can make the little bubbly eyes, because them caterpillars got them bubbly eyes. This one looks like a rabbit or something. So let me see, rabbit dragon. It's a luck dragon. So what happens is, like, I got a chance to work on the sink, and the sink was really cool because I got to take it apart and get the right piping for it. And we replaced the sink head, the faucet itself, on the sink, and then after that we replaced the piping, and then I just leak, but there was a gap between the wall and the sink itself that we had to kind of cut through when I was taking it off to make, like, what do you call it, to make it like better, just kind of thing like that, to make it better. And so what happens is, like, my we got some spray foam, and spray foam is one of those things that, like, I never did it before, but I mean, well, maybe I did and I just can't remember. But what happened was, like, the spray foam I was using, it was totally sticky. It's called Loctite, right? Tite, Loctite, instead of TIGHT, but Loctite. And what it is that it's actually, like, it hardens like to, like, rock hard in about, like, 2 hours or something. Anyway, so what makes it so cool is that you're able to, like, it's like it's very strong foam. So I'm gonna go and work on that soon. I'm gonna go, like, when I get done with the video, I'm gonna, like, go and just kind of knock out some of those things, because it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool, like, thing. So what happens? What I'm just saying is that it's an aspect where it's something to distract myself with as I'm working on these problems, trying to figure out how to make sense of it. And it's actually pretty nice to actually have that opportunity, because sometimes when things break, you just call a plumber to fix it. But if you can try and fix it yourself, that's always good. So then I learned about spray foam. I learned how to use spray foam, and then I'm going to do more of it, because I might put some more artwork together and do spray foam with it. Like, for example, this would be such a cool thing to spray foam. I might use the black foam on it, to make, like, the cool, the cool things, because these have the black feet and stuff like that. But I think it has, like, 3 legs. So I'm gonna make 3 in the back and 3 in the front. I can do that and see how that works out. But my wife and I have been watching the Walking Dead. That's been another way for me to distract myself with some of the poisons been kind of facing. And I've learned a lot of lessons about The Walking Dead. Just kind of watching the video. I know it's a scripted thing, but it touches so much on the human condition that it's a really wonderful show. Like, see, the thing is, when it came out regular on AMC, it was like you had to wait 1 week for every episode. So, I mean, 11 years people are watching this thing, to get one episode, and I had to wait for the next season. And oh my goodness, right? But for the most part, that we got the whole box set. So the box set, we get a chance to actually watch it, like one episode after the other, without like totally completely binge watching it. To where it's like one of those things where it's like as you're going through it, you begin to really learn and to see how this is. So what I've decided to do regarding the coworker situation is that, even though I have an idea who the person is, and I'm just like, I'm waiting for the person to come to me and, admit it, because, the way it is, the pressure, I've done a lot of praying about this and asking God for wisdom. And one thing I, if you know about me, is that I don't want to see you suffer. I really don't want to see you suffer, because what happens is this, right? For some reason, everybody who's ever come against me, right? Not because we make it so or do anything. We have a mighty, all-powerful God who, God watches out for his kids, And the thing is, sometimes the Bible says, the scripture says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, right? Which means that God will get you. God will get you for doing something bad against his kids. And it has always happened. It's always, I have 100% a situation where if you do something against me that is intent to harm me, you will get suffering from God, or a hardship, 100%. And so the thing is, like, not because I'm anything special, but because I just trust God to deal with my situation like that. Sometimes there's things I have to do, right? But it's not that eventful. There was a situation that happened, and I was not upset at all, one drop, going through the situation, And I suffered an injury because of it. But for the most part, though, what happened was, like, I can't tell you the details, but what I can say is that the situation that happened to me, I was not angry. I was not angry or frustrated or full of rage. What ended up happening was, I left it in the hands of the Lord. And sometimes God will deal right away, or sometimes God will deal over time. But just like that friend of mine who it wasn't, had that conversation, they weren't talking to us for many years. God brought him back, and then it brought our friendship back. So the most part, though, that's the thing. So I just have to sit and wait. My Bible says, you got James chapter 1. It says, endurance. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse trials, knowing the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work in you, that you may be perfect and entire, lacking nothing. But if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives so. No. Let me try the verse again. For to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, greetings. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse trials, diverse temptations, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work in you, that be perfect and entire, lacking nothing. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing doubting, for he that doubteth is like the wave of the sea, driven of the wind and tossed. Let not that man think he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So if you believe something, you believe that God's going to take care of you, you have to believe it, If God's going to get your enemies for you, you have to believe it and to trust him. Because, the way God gets people in such a way that he really gets them. And they know why they get them, what they get them. It's kind of like that thing where it's like, you watch these movies, and one thing I like about movies is that they kind of fast-pace everything, It's like, there was a movie that was I was watching, right? It's Batman versus Superman, right? And there's a part where, what's his name? Lex Luthor. He says this phrase. Unfortunately, no one's going to be able to hear this one, but if you guys come back, you'll be able to hear it. Lex Luthor, he had a phrase that says, it's like, talked about God because, and I was saying before this, I did like a short video about it. It says about, if God is good, right, he cannot be all powerful. And if he's all powerful, he can't be all good, right? Because it's talking about like how it's like to let evil in this world, how is that possible to let evil in this world, And I was thinking, like, how I looked at it, right, how I viewed it was, I don't know how to make a face for this thing. I really don't know how to make a face, because what does a caterpillar's face look like? Anybody know? Caterpillar face look like? I just don't know what a caterpillar's face look like. I don't have it, like, yeah. But anyway, so what happens is this, right? I think I'm gonna just make a little. I'm trying to do like a Mothra thing. I don't know. Let's try a little Mothra thing. Let's go like that with the Mothra. Let's try that. Like, let's do that. Okay, that way it's something. All right, so I'll do that. I don't remember it, but so I was saying before that the writers who write stories, right, the ones who write the stories in the books and in a TV show, what they do, right, is that they actually take the image out of themselves and they create all the beings in the story. They create super beings, super villains. They create all kind of things, right? And so the thing is, when they make a creature, right, when they make a story, what ends up happening is that they have to kind of like factor in their limitations. You see, when God tells a story, he's the king of the story. So he can tell a story as straight up as possible, right? So in the scriptures, when you look at the Bible don't pull no punches when it comes to anything. So it's able to talk about every single person, every people, all the people groups without like hesitation, because God has no chill, you know. He doesn't have to be care about who he offends or he doesn't, right? Because he has no chill. He's like, okay, I'm gonna tell you straight up. This group of people is bad. This group of people is good. This people group, like he says, all of us are bad, right? The Bible says, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So every one of us is bad, right? In the eyes of God, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. It says, another verse says, for the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord. So we get eternal life through Jesus, right? The crazy part is this, right? That most people will consider that there's something they have to do. So something they have to do or something they have to make. So when God says that, God does not pull punches when it comes to us as people. You know, he tells us straight up. So here I'm making an interim, right? And so the thing is like, so what happens is like, very elaborate interim. Yeah? So here's what happens. The scenario is God doesn't have to pull any punches. He tells us like it is what we are. And he said we're all in need of a savior. Because had it not been so, they would be like, okay, well, this person gets saved on his own good merits, and that person has to get saved on his own good merits, and that's a good merits there, and all kind of stuff, you know. But for the most part, that what ends up happening is that you just find out that there's nobody has enough good merits. But here we go. Here's where it gets good. The good thing is like, so when you write a story, right, people write stories, they have to put their own limitations in the story. So if they write a story like Batman vs Superman, there's always gonna be someone stronger than Superman. That's the writer of the story, right? The person. So the person is like even what's his name? Darkseid, right? Darkseid, the most super powerful villain, or like somebody like just any other Thanos, right? Even Thanos, he's not more powerful than the writer of the story. The one who writes the story is the most powerful person. So the person who writes the story is the most powerful person in the novel. Is no character in a novel is more important or more powerful than the writer. So the writer is the one. So whenever somebody says like in a story about that if God is good, he's not all powerful. If he's all powerful, he's not all good, right? When you say all those kind of things, what they're saying is that they are, because they're the ones in that world that's God, right? And they know limitation. They cannot say that they're good because everybody knows their own limitation. The Bible says the heart knows its own sadness. The heart knows its own sadness. So when you talk about things like, for example, sabotage and dealing with situations and dealing with harsh realities of stuff, you have a situation where you have a situation where it's like you're faced with having to make a decision about like what to do. But the bottom line, what I'm saying is like you're faced with this thing where lost my train of thought. So if you're writing your own story, then you are the boss, and you are the boss of your story. But if you have God writing your story, the one who's all powerful, he can see it from start to finish. He can see where the story goes before it even starts. So you see the end from the beginning. For the most part, though, that's one of those things I just wanted to say, because it's like thank you so much everybody for just kind of talking with me and kind of writing, and especially thank you Amy for watching my video and kind of see if I can make some more cool inchwormy looking things. You make one that you don't want to step on, like an inchworm. You're like, I don't want to step on that. I know that's going to kill me or something. So to make these spikes a little bit more dangerous, So you have that. My thought is this, right? It's like, again, when you write a story, you are the king of the story. So that's why those people say that in stories and movies so much, because they're the king of the story. There's no one more powerful than the artist or more powerful than the writer when it comes to things like that, because at the end of the day, the writer is limited. He's limited to his budget, limited to his palette, limited to his work, and God himself is unlimited. So God can be good, all powerful and all good, because he doesn't have to answer to anyone. He doesn't have to answer. He can do what he says, do what he wants, but he also, Bible says he actually does the thing where he puts a limit. God actually does limit. He limits his, I would say he puts his word above his name. So in a sense, like when you do that, right? So, let's for example, you were to create something. I mean, I'm making this. A customer suggested that I make a inchworm. So here's an inchworm that I'm making, right? I'm making one right here. And so, I mean, that's pretty cool to be able to make an inchworm, and it's just kind of sitting there talking, and it's very catharsis. Catharsis means to unload your burdens and to be able to sit there and make a cool looking thing. And I'm thinking how cool it'd be like a green one, but probably should make like a really cool spiky looking thing like that, like have it all wide in the back, like kind of thing. Maybe I might make it a little bit more thicker underneath the feet, so that way the feet could reach down a little lower, or have more to go. Let's say this kind of example, like that, where it's like the feet are a little bit shorter. I'm gonna do that. So anyway, maybe the eyes a little bit more bulgy. Let's see, do that. I must admit the difficulty of having to make something without seeing it. I mean, sometimes you have it. I mean, like I don't usually make bugs. I mean, I do make bugs, but not caterpillar bugs. Not inchworm, caterpillar bugs. Yeah. So inchworm is actually a caterpillar, but we always call it an inchworm. And this turns into, I forget what it turns into, some kind of, it's a kind of bug. Yeah, I forget the antenna, right? Doesn't come on top of the head. The antenna comes up between its nose, because like that's where most antennas come out from. Most creatures don't come out from the top of their head, so it's like kind of comes out from front their nose, and it comes out like that. So it's like their eyes. It's like that, yeah. It has like one of those where it comes out from the front. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. Long day. You went to Wendy's today? Yeah, I spent some time with the family. It was so good. It was such a good time. If you can spend time with your wife and kids, you do that, okay? You spend time. You go do that. You spend time. You give them everything, because there's certain things you don't have ever again. And it's always fun to sit there and make stuff. So I was working on I was working on the Venom sculpture. I'll show you this in a little bit. I think this is pretty much it. This is me working this without looking. Yeah, I like it. Okay. All right, I want to make this mouth like a little jaw. All right. I have a feeling I know who this person is who sabotaged me at work. I know who it was, and it's not like I feel it's like I really know. And there's really I'm gonna leave them in the hands of God to deal with, because they did this on purpose to mess up. They didn't do it lovingly. They didn't do it out of concern. They didn't try to make life better. They did it out of revenge or spite. And there's only a few people I can actually think that would do that. Just a few people who I think would do such a thing. You know? And I have my druthers. But, you know, knowing who they know, I forgive them and let God deal with them. Because, you know, one thing we do too, we pray that God deals with a person by making them a Christian, give them salvation, and then God gives them the most painful life they could go through so they can learn who God is better, right? But we also pray that God's will be done because, you know, I can make my prayers, but at the end of the day, it's really just kind of one of those things where, you know, God has to, you know, do what he does. And he does what he does. He does it really well. All right, so anybody have any other ideas of things to make? I have about 9 more minutes left. I'm going to show you some of the Venom that we're working on, the Venom sculpture. I worked on this today, and maybe I'll give like little spikes on its back, you know? It's like, let's see, a little big old spike on its back for this thing. A couple spikes. Oh, you know, I can make like the ream right on the back. Because, you know, they have the little creases and stuff. So to make this like into like a monster hunter. Like, you remember the time with Dexter? He turned into a giant like monster, and he was a little tiny monster. And his sister was a big old bird, and they became like giant things. That Dexter's Laboratory show. Oh my goodness, that movie. That show was the best. That show. Oh my goodness, that show. And it was like, I just, you know, I loved it. I love that show. If you have a chance to watch it, do it. You know, get the series, do that too. Because that's one of the things we were starting to get all the series of stuff and just kind of watch them. Because I mean, there's so many. We're watching right now. We're also watching Courage the Cowardly Dog, and that has been a great thing, great coping mechanism for us. Because it's like, the Courage is always dealing with like some of the most difficult villains ever, and he does it with like he's always solving the problem. So it's like, I was there with my kids, and just like, you know, he's not always fighting a monster, but sometimes it's like he's just like he's always trying to solve a problem. He's always solving problems very cleverly. So you wouldn't even, you know, man, the people who wrote it. But sometimes there's some just like crazy and annoying. But we watched that, and it was great. It was just a great time watching these videos and stuff like that, and just be able to watch it with the family. So yeah, if you do that, you have a family, you spend time with that family, okay? You do that. That's the most important thing you can. Bible talks about that the family just, you know, you just do that. You spend time with the people you love. Well, so I'll give you some definitives. One, people at work, they did something, and I'm just trying to figure out what to do. My next steps. I still have my job, but the most part though, it's like I was just sad that it went to that, the scenario where they did that. It may not be anything, maybe nothing, but I put on the bridge, just, you know, forgive them and move on. Let God deal with them, and He will. And the other thing too is like, you know, just trying to regain trust again with my coworkers, you know. That's one of the things, because I have many coworkers who have shown themselves to be very awesome people, and I'm just praying for wisdom about that, how to deal with the coworkers who did such a thing. The other thing too is like, you know, going forward with life and decisions and all the plans I have coming up, it's like, you know, just trying to make that happen, make it work, you know. And that's something there. So you have like, someone asked to make an inchworm, so there's a nice little inchworm. You have that there. And yeah, we're coming to the end of this session. I'm going to show you the Venom that I was working on, so you can see that. So this is the intro. I'm going to put that on my shoulder right here, or put it on my head. Like that. Put this Jimmy right here, right underneath my thing. So you have a inchworm on my head. He's like, hey, right? And you have that. I'm going to show you this Venom. Outside, I got me Deli. So this is Deli. This is Deli. A lot of people like him. I like him. He's pretty cool. So what I was doing today was I actually had him. We were at the cooperative, and I had him with me, and then I shot the picture to say that tonight was going to be the night market. That's going to be the Sculpt live, and so I have him. You know, I actually have a volcano suit for him, and so people like that whole volcano suit. But he has a get that bread, and he's pretty much has his outfits and stuff. So that's that. I'm going to show you. This is a Venom. This is Venom. Now Venom is really kind of emaciated. He's like, I need some meat and bones. But look at his mouth though. His mouth is like all good. So you have the mouth that's all good of Venom right there. So kind of working on that. See how that's going to work out. So we're just going to give him his meat and potatoes. So when you see him again, maybe the thumbnail, he'll actually have like all the meat and potatoes, you know, because it'll give you the impression that this is what I worked on for the whole time, you know, but not necessarily. But this is Venom. So I'm going to give him some meat and potatoes. I got another 5 minutes, so I'm just going to bulk him up some. and put Deli over here. Deli. This is another one. This one's called the Gila Monster. The Gila Monster, and it's the black one. But this one has foam. This has foam clay. And foam clay is not flexible. See, if you look here, you can see all the damage. You can see right to his interior right here. You can see right to his interior right there in the leg here. See that? You can see right to the masking tape interior right there because foam it doesn't do what masking tape does. So it doesn't bend and flex. And my life is about a lot of flexibility. Right. So in the meantime, let me go ahead and work on some Venom. So here's Venom here. Right, here he is. He's like, hello. I like the Venom movie. I really did. At first, I didn't like the third one, but the more I watched it, the more I liked it. I'm going to sit and watch the commentary at some point when I got some time. But tomorrow's a big day, Lord willing. I'm going to do a lot of big stuff. And tomorrow's the 10th of April. I can't believe it's already April, 4 months in. And what we're going to do is go ahead and just kind of add some more to this guy here. So thank you all for watching because this has been good. For the next 4 minutes, we're going to work on Venom. And I'm not going to do much talking. So if you want to write something in the chat, feel free. When I send a super chat, feel free about that too. Give me one last dance before I hit the ground. Why I make Venom so much? See, Venom is a character. He started off with a lot of revenge and hatred, and then later he became a character that changes into a character that's beloved. And that's why it had to invent Carnage, just because they couldn't do with Venom what they were gonna do, because he became a good character. Became the lethal protector. So when the movie came out now, the Spider-Man side did not have any justice. Instead, what ended up happening was that it was one of those things where, they totally left Spider-Man out of it. And for some reason, they had the multiverse, the multiverse for like 3 seconds, And so they brought him over there just to bring him back. I'm like, oh my goodness. But if they could have, they could have done something with Spider-Man, that would have been glorious. But they didn't. The only Spider-Man we ever got with Venom was Spider-Man 3. With Toby and Topher. Toby and Topher. That's the closest we ever got. Made of black goo. Black goo Spider-Man. We have that guy here. He's going to bulk up really nicely. Gonna bulk up as much as I can. When I learn this clay stuff, how to do the foam stuff, man, that foam stuff is gonna be like bang. I'm gonna do a lot of cool foam stuff with it. But yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys are able to hear some of my story and hear the stuff that we're going through. And I try to be as general as possible, not to make it too item specific, not to where you can figure things out, but just to where you can hear some of the stuff we're going through. I have a lot more stuff, but it's just kind of like a hard start sometimes. It's also a hard finish because you're trying to make sense of stuff. So this is one of those things. So Venom, Venom, Venom. Yep. Give me one last dance before I hit the ground. That movie was pretty cool. All right, so right now I'm at the 1 hour marker. And so not to belabor a point, I'm just going to go ahead and start wrapping it up because now it's 9 o'clock. I started, it was 8. So let's see if I just kind of bulk him up a little bit more so you have a nice bulky Venom with all his Venomy parts. Or maybe I can make anti-Venom because, anti-Venom is the opposite of Venom. Instead of taking, he actually gives life. So there's something there. He's able to cure people. So his thing is he cures those he comes in contact with, as opposed to Venom, who, sometimes he eats those he come in contact with. But that's anti-Venom. So I'll make anti-Venom instead of Venom. And since it's already bone away anyway, it kind of works. Right. Let me give you a big old massive legs because right now you're kind of skinny. So there goes to this one here. I'm just going to go a little bit longer and bulk him up, and then I'm going to call it. So give him that big old thigh. Big old Venom thigh. Yeah. Let me know in the chat. We are. So for the record, I want to say that, people are not listening, that I do forgive the person who did what he did to me. God will get them, and and they have to seek my forgiveness or whatever. But God will get them, and that will be the end of it. But for the most part, though, I just gotta think about what I'm gonna do regarding the other parts of the equation, with regarding my work and my coworkers and going forward. Just knowing that somebody can do this again. You understand? They can do this again, and because they can do this again, it makes it even more difficult to do it first time. But nevertheless, do not be beaten. Don't be shaken soon in word or deed. Do not be soon shaken in word or deed. But be therefore established. Ever bowing with the Lord, nor your labors not in vain. Alright, so gonna bulk you up there, Venom. This is like big old massive leg muscle. He got super big, massive leg muscle. That's one thing about him. Gotta bulk him up some more. Let's do that. I'm glad I was able to get it off my chest and be able to talk to you about all the stuff that we went through. Those joining us now, I just want to say thank you for joining us. I'm in the process of just bulking up Venom. On my head is an inchworm. As you can see, this is an inchworm. Somebody asked me in the chat to make an inchworm, so I made one. I think that's an inchworm. Yeah, giant inchworm. Something like that. So there's that. And then so I've been working on Venom all day. So I've been working on him, and so he's getting there. Just dropped my headphone. Sorry about that. Oh, you mind. Ain't no stopping, it's starting now. Okay, so he's got the big old deltoid, the big old backbone muscles. Yeah, there it goes. Support that neck. Support that neck. And you have this split in the back, because you have that split that goes down your back. It starts like right about there, and works its way back down. So to have that split, it's going to be like two halves. Big muscles in the back. Alright. I'm going to just see if I can get his muscles just better. Real quick. Yep. Because you have that muscle in the back thing going on. Right, that half moon shape thing. And then remember, at the end of the day, it's just about being consistent, You be consistent. You do what you're going to do your dreams, but you be consistent about it. If you say you're going to meet every Wednesday, you meet every Wednesday. If you got to meet a different time, you meet a different time, but still meet every Wednesday. But still do it. It says, do it scared, do it well, but still do it. One of my friends always says, thank you for supporting a living artist, and it's true. It really is true. That's one of those things that, you're supporting a living person, by just watching this video, you're supporting me, help me get support. Because what happens later, the algorithm is going to give life to this, and you're going to see more, people will see more of it. The thing is, when you really think about where Venom comes from, he has to come out of like Eddie's butt, like what Eddie was saying. It comes out of his behind, because his only place he could stay is up in his, up inside that intestine. So he has to, in a sense, poop out venom each time. Poor Eddie. Eddie has it rough. Thank you, Amy. Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Any requests, Amy? Like for me to make anything? Miss Amy Valentine? Oh. What I should do in the future, what I'll probably do is I'll try and see if I can send out links to some of my favorite supporters. And that way my supporters could always have a link to come back to in case they ever get disconnected. That's what I did. I sent a link to all of my people in my model group. I sent it to the people in the group there so they can actually come see it. So anybody who is here, anybody who's seen my stuff, I really appreciate it. It's like I might do something else tomorrow, but for the most part though, I'm just pretty much about to wrap it up. So I'll give it 3 more minutes, and then after that I'm gonna go wrap it up. But right now I have a super chat for $5 from Amy. Thank you so much, Amy, for that. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much, girl. Really, really appreciate you. So thank you, Miss Amy, for that super chat. That's gonna be really cool. It helps us out a lot, and that helps it with dealing with the whole thing, the whole thing going on, So that's that. Let's see. I'm gonna give him some more like muscle right here. I'm gonna make him like big and burly. See, the thing is, like I have him like just basically a thing where he's kind of streamlined, because that's kind of like how I normally make them. I'm gonna beast him up. Let's beast him up. Let's make his muscles super huge, huh? Let's make it like unbearably nasty huge. But I got 3 more minutes, so let's do it real quick. Make some nasty big muscles on Venom. All right, let's do that. Venom. Make his big old shoulder muscles huge too. Do that. Make the muscles big and huge. Make him big and massive. Make him like the Hulk. Let's do that real quick. So, yeah, cause that's what it is. He's got to. Oh, whoa! I dropped the. What do you call it? Give me one last dance. Ooh. I can't wait to watch some more of that Walking Dead. Gonna watch some more of that soon, and then we're gonna watch probably watch some of the oh wait, maybe I'll do the Next Generation and then watch Walking. I'll probably do Walking Dead first, and then the Next Generation. Star Trek Next Generation. Yeah, see that? See, now he's starting to look like really, really bulky Venom. Yep. Give me the bulkiest one yet. I gotta make the emblem. Better make him anti-venom. Yes, I enjoy making Master Chief artwork, and it's all flexible because it's been some booyah. So make his arm all big and massive too. I have this thing called Paltia, right? I have this thing called Paltia, and I haven't used it ever. I've actually had, like, just for a whole year now, since May of last year, and I never used it yet, so I will use Paltia, Lord willing, at some point. I'm going to show you about the stuff I make with it. But right now, I'm just kind of using spray foam, but this one here is just masking tape. And what we're going to do is just going to see if I can just, see how much I can actually get accomplished with this. But, yeah, you see, the thing is, I used to have a Venom figure, right? The Venom action figure. And I had this old, so he's gone. And then I had Spider-Man, I had to sell those two. Because, we were going through some stuff, man, back when we were younger. I had to sell these things, I mean, I wish I wouldn't have to sell now or rebuy them, but now when you can make your own stuff, I mean, what's the point of buying them toys? You can make your own toys, I mean, it's kind of cool to have novelty, and once in a while I get something. But, for the most part, though, let it be said that I can, if you can make your own stuff, if you can make your own cake, why buy cake, And a special occasion. Like for example, like I'm a videographer too, so I mean, like I can make my own videos. But sometimes you just hire out, get somebody else's point of view, a little something different, so that you can have something to compare it to. Not to mention, you can learn from, because everybody has different style doing the same thing. As a matter of fact, like as I'm sitting here making this, I know that people at some point is going to copy this and things, But for the most part, though, I'm really, just confident whatever I make is going to be me, whatever they make is going to be them. And so this is my style of art. So let's make his arms bigger, and that's the thing. You just get better at what you do. You get better at the art you do, and when you become better at the art you do, you just become better. And that becoming better, by the way, that little be doing art stuff that people talk about, that where you get a chance to actually make some stuff and change the world, that, my friend, is what changes the world. Honestly, You know, because you do something that nobody else can do, and you do it well. You give God the glory. You make life better, and you just change this world. So, folks, I just want to thank you so much for watching. I said I would only go till like this time, and now I got an hour and 10 minutes more. So, I know you have your programs you watch at night and sleep you want to get to because you have a busy day tomorrow. So, I want to thank you all for spending time with me. Those of you who spend time with me, got a chance to watch my video and listen to me talk about the problems I'm going through, I thank you. Thank you also, Miss Amy, for the super chat, for helping us out. You know, giving money to the cause, helping the money to go, helping the, you know, to build up, you know, what we're working on. And then pretty much also just to, and the guy who gave the idea for this super chat to make the intro. You know, so here's the intro. The intro salutes you. Intro salutes you. You think, hello, I salute you. I salute you. I'm the interim, right? Salute you. Venom salutes you, or the anti-venom salutes you. And that's for today. I want to thank you so much for listening to me talk about my situation. Again, God bless you. And I'll let you know how it goes. All right, so peace and God bless. Talk to you soon. And like and subscribe to this channel.